Hi everyone! Olga Buianovscaia, bubble performer, is here. I go on with my Bubble Talk series, and today we are moving to France. If you ask me what makes a good bubble show, I'll tell you it should be immersive. I like it when the stage image of an artist works together with music. I like the program to be thought to the smallest detail. Such integrity envelops the viewer, gently takes him away from everyday life, transfers him into the world of dreams. And the acts of my next guest are exactly like this. Just see how stunning his characters are. All the props are customized. You will not see tables or vans, all this underside of the show. Just pure magic. So dear friends, allow me to present you my colleague from France, Brinchault.
So
Okay.
we start, yeah? Okay. Hello. First of all, thank you very much for supporting my idea.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So my first question is, it's always interesting how people come to their occupation. Was it occasionally that you came into the genre, or it was step by step, inevitable?
Yeah, at the beginning, I was teaching French in English-speaking countries like Wales or Scotland or England, and I was playing a lot of music during my studies. So, and thereafter, I started to create a clown show. A clown show. That was my first step about 25 years ago. And when you're doing a clown show, you're putting in your show uh, all the things that the kids like juggling, music, balloons, magic tricks, and of course bubbles. And I started bubbles with this clown show, but I put bubbles at the very end of my show because of the slippery floor. I didn't know anything about bubbles. And people after my show, they kept in mind just the bubbles. And I say, it's because it's at the end of my show. But it was not that. So I started uh, focusing on the recipe, on equipment, and so on. But there was no internet at that time, nothing. I was chatting with Tom Noddy at that time. Tom Noddy, Pep Boo, Case Johnson, all these masters. I was working with them. And then at a turning point, I couldn't do my job as a teacher or music. So I said, okay, let's go on the road with my bubbles. But when I decided it, I was everything was ready. My show was ready. My videos was ready. Photos, website, and I took on the I took on the internet all the big agencies all over the world. When I was ready, I sent anything to everyone. And what happened just after sending this mail with 2,000 people, 10 days later, I was in Dubai, then in Saudi Arabia, then in Las Vegas, then in Egypt. Sorry, I created a show, 9-minute show, which could fit in a suitcase, just one suitcase, and they could call me anywhere in the world for like a new phone launching, things like that, big, very big events. So I was at one point at a crossroads. but the choice was just in front of me. I couldn't do all the three, teaching, music, and bubbles. And I decided to go for bubbles, and it went very, very fast. But it was in 2004, so 20 years, roughly 20 years.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you say about music, you were a musician? Were you?
Yeah, I was playing the accordion, the French accordion, and I recorded many CDs and TV shows and so on in France before.
Wow, incredible.
Mm.
So does now music play an important part in your shows?
Of course, and and it's very, very important. Many artists, they don't care about the costumes, about the lights, about the music, but it's very, very important for me. Everything must be coherent. I don't play with huge bubbles, never. I tell a story with the small bubbles. I do magic tricks with the small bubbles, but every bubble is on a key of music.
Yeah.
This is very precise.
And it resonates, and it enlarges the effect, the impact.
Yeah,
It
sure.
resonates with music.
Remember Pep Boo? He's got so he invented so many tricks, but uh, once on the stage, he's got four lines like this with smoke bubbles on the lines. It's like key of music, you see.
Yes, yes,
And when he touch one bubble, the pianist play the key,
yes, yes.
and the others. And when all the bubbles fall down, the music started. It's just
Yes,
perfect.
this is what differs artists' presentation from simple animation.
When they call for animation, we say, "I'm sorry, we don't do any animation. We just performing show." I love people doing that, looking after kids, doing workshops and so on. But I don't buy my equipments in a shop. I build my equipments. Everything is dark or purple or red and dark for my different characters. You will never see me with a green
Yeah,
a green ring like hey, no, never, never.
yes, yes, and it is very clearly seen in all your videos and photos because everything is in harmony. Your
Mhm.
character with the equipment, with everything which surrounds you. This is this is art.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
do you have a favorite trick or prop?
I
Mhm.
was one of the first, I think, the first in the world to do magic tricks with bubbles, close up magic, table by table, you see,
Mhm.
in smart with just, okay, I'm blowing bubbles, okay. And then I tell people, okay, when you're talking about bubble magician, you have to play with a deck of cards. So they pick a card, okay, and I say, whatever the card they want, they pick a card, and then I say, okay, I'm gonna blow bubbles,
Mhm.
which correspond to the card you've just chosen. So I blow many bubbles, and then I take one,
Mhm.
and I say, okay, look, this is the bubbles, which is exactly like the card. And say, and they say, no. And is the card they've chosen is inside the bubble. And the next table they say, oh, okay, you had chosen the ace of spade. And the next table say, no, it was the queen of hearts. So it changes. So there are many tricks I like,
Mhm.
but I love doing magic with bubbles.
Yeah, this
Mm.
is perhaps your visit card.
This
This
is,
is this is what
yeah.
differs you from the
But
group.
you say my card is like this. It's just me because I've got so many characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's not written verbal artists and so on.
Mm-hmm.
It's more poetic. I can't translate it in English.
Mhm.
But at the back, it's written bubble magician.
Mhm.
Because when you're talking about bubble show in France, people will say, will ask you, but what bubbles? Bubbles is just for kids. Bubbles is, and when you say bubble magician, just say okay, they understand. Magician is okay. They will do magic. So I do magic with bubble, but bubbles are magic without doing something magic. That's just
Yes,
magic.
yes, they are. So you have found the right word, which is the key for people's understanding what they will see.
Yeah, in our country, when I perform in foreign countries, there's no problem. But the French audience is very, very difficult. They are used to see very beautiful show with lights. That's why we perform like this in France. When I go to another country, I say, "Oh my God, we never do like this." So in France,
Mhm.
at the beginning, it was difficult, 20 years ago to say, "Okay, I'm a bubble magician." So now we are performing about 140 show per year.
Mhm.
This is the minimum. So every day we have between 5 and 10 requests for my show. So that's okay now. People know me in my country, and that's okay. But at the beginning, I used these words, bubble magician, for them to
Okay.
understand. Hmm.
Now it's gonna be a little bit tricky moment because I didn't write you this question, but still I would like to ask it. I follow you on Facebook, and each post that you write, you always mention Chloe.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I feel like it's a huge support in your career. So, can you
of course,
somehow comment on this?
of course, of course. Well, but every time I mention her, and when I won 2 weeks ago the trophy of the best magic show in France,
Congratulations!
yeah, thank you. She was over there. I was performing. She was over there to with my little kids to get this trophy because it's not mine. It's ours. Well, I'm dealing with the artistic part, which means that next week I will do a big TV show in France. So I have to prepare it it's for a Christmas event on TV, but it's the biggest kids show in France. I have
Mhm.
to prepare it about snow, smoke bubbles, and so on. But I can't do everything. Chloe is my wife and she's my producer.
Wow.
She knows exactly who I am because she's my wife. She knows exactly what I do because she's my producer. She's the best one in the place. So she's dealing with the diffusion of my show, with the calling the organizers, um, writing mails, planning the different tour, which is a huge work,
Yes,
a
yes.
huge one. He doesn't want to go on stage. I wanted to create a show for her because she's just beautiful.
Yes, she is
But
very beautiful.
yeah, but she doesn't want. So I
Uh-huh.
don't want to do her job. She doesn't want to do mine. So everyone is in place and working together. And we are, every time now I'm doing something or I'm going to another country, I ask for 3 plane tickets, not me. It's about my wife, my kid, and me. If I do it alone, I don't care. If you can't share with nobody, there's no point for me. I can go every day, taking the plane every day. We can do it. But when the man or the girl say no, just 1 plane ticket, we say okay, no problem. We don't go. So she's very important because we are working like this, and that's why it's working very well because it's a family affair.
Yes, this is beautiful, and you are a really lucky person I have also an artistic family. My husband is a musician,
Okay.
and I'm dreaming, yes, to collaborate. We haven't started yet, but I think this is a great idea. So maybe this year, the coming year, we will finally do the program together. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
discovered anything new about yourself when you started bubbling?
Yeah. When I started doing bubbles, there was another relationship with the audience. We share something very special. They are like in a dream. So uh, I was looking at their eyes. That's what makes me the most the happiest. Looking the eyes of the audience, and you know a lot of things about yourself because you need to be patient. You need to be behind the bubbles. You cannot do whatever you want with the bubbles. The bubbles do what she wants. So we have
Yeah.
to accompany the bubbles to play with, but you can't say, okay, let's do it like with a deck of cards or with the balloons. You can twist the balloons and here are the balloons. The bubbles will never be. So I learned to be very humble, you see,
Mhm.
humble, and to be not in the front of the stage like in music or like when I was teaching, but behind in the bubbles. So it's all about humility, I think.
Yeah. Conditions, yeah, they rule sometimes. How do you create? How does it look, your process of creation?
Oh,
How does
well, I need to be alone. Here I'm in the house. The other side of the road, if you cross the road, we have a huge working place where I store my equipment when I can practice and train. There is an office, you can cook, you see. But the home is our home. The inspiration comes from my family, from the travels. First, I was just throwing bubbles in the at the beginning, we doing huge bubbles and bubbles, nothing about bubbles. But bubbles were talking to people. But I say, I can't stop here. I can't stop. I can't do that. Just playing bubbles, and every kid was messing with my equipment, equipment everywhere. And I wanted. I always, when I start something, uh, I like to go further and further and further. And when I say, okay, let's do more than what the audience expects, even if they are happy with what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And it's not I'm not sitting one day and say, okay, let's create a character, let's do that. No, it's coming. The ideas come from many things, but there are different characters I had inside me. The clown, but not the clown like this, the
Mhm.
poetic clown. I mean, uh, I got another character with Walter Soap that I like performing with him because people do not recognize me before and after. So I like hiding myself in this character. This character was performing with a simply thread. Then I created a big one and I can perform a 30 minutes bubble show outside. But what I mean, bubble show outside, it's just throwing just a few bubbles, but it's all about uh, machine working with wind, uh, equipment with foam. So I like going further, and each character suits to its equipment. Well, it's difficult to find words to explain that, but I think these characters are part of my own character, my behavior. There's the poetic one, the one who is doing magic, like this, the one who is strange, the one, you see?
So it means that with developing of these characters, you are somehow immersing into yourself and
Yeah, that's
finding
it.
more deeply your
That's
inner
it.
part.
Yeah, you have to be on stage. The first thing, you have to be sincere. You have to be who you are. We can play a character, but if you have a bad ache or if you feel tired, say it to the audience or behave like this. They will understand. If you
Mm-hmm.
try to behave like this, but you are very tired, it will not go
Yes,
right.
it has to be an inner movement. Yes.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you enjoy more indoor or outdoor shows? Because you have both.
Well, they are completely different. At the beginning, when I was starting with bubbles, I was very well inside because I worked on so many tricks and the carousel and so on, and bubbles into fire and so on, that the wind, the wind is not your friend.
Yeah.
Now, and now, well, I've been doing bubbles for 20 years, so with the experience, I love performing outside because even if it's windy, I can do the tricks that I do inside, but I do it outside. Every time when I put photos and videos, Aramis and guys say me, how can you do this kind of trick? There's no wind in your country. I live in the northwest of France, which is Brittany, which is the windiest part in France. But but you can play with the wind. You can walk at the speed of the wind. And if you walk at the speed of the wind, there's no wind anymore.
Sensation.
So when you perform indoor on stage, people coming to see come to see a show on stage. They're expecting a show. They sit in a chair, you are on the stage, and they're waiting for you to perform and to present something. When you're outside, they do not expect this kind of show. And if
Mm-hmm.
you do it with the colors of the sky and so on, but every time I perform outside, Chloe is dealing with the place where I'm performing, the wind coming from my back to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's not I'm coming and I perform. Never, never. We know exactly the place, we know the speed of the wind, the humidity, all the conditions, and every time I perform outside, I have always the same conditions.
Mm-hmm. Great, great. And the wind is not always equal, even if it's, I don't know, 9 or 12, the speed, it is speedy, and after it, we have a
Yeah.
moment, yes? So at this,
So when you're doing bubbles, it's like inside. Inside when I'm doing a well, let's say a 20-minute show, in
Mhm,
my suitcase, I have everything to perform a 50-minute show.
mhm,
And if the temperature is too high and so on, I know exactly that's why I'm starting with small bubbles to see how they became dry, how they go up or down, and I know exactly what I'm doing. Outside, it's the same. I've got my show, but I can do many things. Put the fish in the show and so on. But if it's not windy, I can do it. If it's windy, I've got other things, and nobody knows what I'm doing. I know it will be a 30-minute show, but not the show I did 2 hours before. So
yeah,
they come every time. The audience, when I'm doing, usually I'm doing when I'm performing outside, I'm doing 2 shows of 30 minutes or three of 20 minutes. But every time the audience come back to see the
yeah.
other show. Mm.
So this is so you're a master already, 20 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. But what I liked at the beginning, um, when I put my first video on YouTube, I credited all these masters who gave me inspiration. I say thanks to Kay Johnson, Sterling Johnson with bubbles with hands, even Sam who learned me many things on. And I was younger at that time, but as I gave them credit on my videos and my photos. They accepted me directly and say, Greg, you're gonna do something great with bubbles. If you need help, I never cheated. I never take someone else's ideas without giving credit. But this is an inspiration for me. And then I do something from what they created to do something else and to to go forward.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Okay, I
When I did once I had a small, for example, just one thing. I had a small bubble machine, and I hate that. I don't like. I mean, that people watch the equipment. If you go on stage with the ring, they know that you're going to do a bubble this size. When you're going on when you in the audience, you're going to you see my equipment. You don't see anything on stage which correspond to bubbles.
Mhm.
Always in suitcases. So once I put my bubble machine in a suitcase, and when I was walking during a performance, people say, "Oh my God, the bubbles coming out from a suitcase." Just an idea from others. I know that many bubble artists ask me, "Greg, can we do the same?" I say, if you ask, of course, do it. It's lovely. It's working. It's an idea I had, but a good idea is worth to be shared with bubble artists who ask you to do it.
Yeah, great. Do bubbles have a sacred or metaphorical meaning for you? So
Yeah, I think so. They are really like we are, with the proportion of water and so on. They start with, and they are born with two elements, dishwashing and water, like a father and a mother. I think our life is completely linked to the bubbles, completely, from different steps, from being a child to a teenager, from our death, that people remember you, and the bubble disappear, and it's just a memory, but they are exactly the same. They are completely universal. I thought that music was universal, but no, there are code of music to play with other people. The bubble will be spheric, will have the same color in Senegal or Dubai or Morocco, and people, whatever the situation is, rich, poor, whatever, they have all the same eyes. It's universal. It brings peace to everyone, and they forget who they are at the moment. It's the inner child that comes out of them when they see bubbles, and I love. It's just amazing.
that's beautiful.